sorry for.
Hello, today is April 2023, and before I get into this video on the topic of swatting and forms of it, I would like to stress this video is not anything negative about police or any other type of authority. It is to highlight how they are used as a weapon by others to destroy someone or even a group. I'd like to highlight how I've said many times over the years, it is the people versus the people on any topic. Take, for example, how people will take a social justice position against an individual or a group. Another example would be how people will escalate matters unnecessarily by having authority types getting involved. This last one can be done with good intentions or maliciously. Such escalations are even promoted and rewarded as snitches by governing bodies to have people turn on their own. These people, whether it be as a social justice warrior or by escalating matters unnecessarily, either with good intentions or a malicious intent, these people are busybodies. An extension of this is when the more ambitious ones obtain various positions of authority. They want to be more than who they are because they are unhappy inside of themselves. I've done videos talking about when a beta type in any type of authoritative position must encounter an alpha type. I've even highlighted how Michael Wood Jr., a police officer whistleblower, stated during an interview, just because someone has a badge and a gun doesn't mean they are not scared. I'll also expand by saying it doesn't make them an alpha in reality, nor does a title of any kind make someone intelligent. But I digress. Looking at my story superficially, setting aside the backstory, my story began as a false allegation of a sexual crime via an anonymous tip. This triggered police involvement, which is a form of swatting. The female, on her own, told me about the investigation, an investigation no one wanted to speak to me about, even to this day. Even Freedom of Information requests produced nothing because 96% of the documents were redacted. The stupidity of this is, how is suppressing information compromise anything, as I should already have known or have knowledge of if any crime was committed? I was directly told by a retired police detective two major things. One, police do not care if an accusation is true or false, as it gives them something to do. And two, when whistleblowing and exposing sex types of crimes, usually the person whistleblowing and exposing is falsely accused of the said, so that it diverts attention and discredits them, while again falsely accusing the whistleblower and exposer of hiding behind their efforts. Let's take the false accusation on face value. Some anonymous busybody making an uninformed conclusion unnecessarily escalated things by calling the police. The person setting up the swatting used a third party or even a fourth party to remove themselves even further. In my story, if it was the female herself who set everything up, she would have gone to a third party and said whatever she said. She removed herself from the conflict. The third party relies on accepting what they are told because they would claim they have no reason not to believe them. Going deeper into my story, if someone was using the female to set everything up, the female would have been the third party, and the fourth party would still be the ones escalating things beyond ridiculous. Regardless, this eventually led to more and more false allegations based on idiot assumptions, to the point where two former officers decided to take the law into their own hands. The more people who accepted the false narratives about me would make the false narratives about me appear more legitimate, to the point where no one involved with my case could accept the truth despite any independent evidence. Ultimately, this is a form of swatting. Let's take the idiot assumptions on face value. Each idiot who became involved made an uninformed conclusion and added to the destructive false narrative. Even if there was doubt, the mindset being, there must be some degree of truth, thus justifying themselves, further setting the stage of conspiracy to destroy while being able to point the fingers at someone else. The Ash, Milgram, and even the Stanford experiments give insight to how all this plays out. Conformity to accepting false narratives that others have accepted, appealing to authority by assuming official statements must be true, and how positions of authority tends to bring out the worst in people who obtain them. With the distancing of the person who conceived and executed the swatting, and the layering of multiple of other people supporting and adding their own alleged opinions based on their own limited knowledge bases overall, this is how someone's life is easily destroyed, and how no one is held accountable for the destruction of the swatting victim. With the swatted victim holding the crap end of the stick, especially when someone or a small group uses authority to destroy someone's life. We greatly observe this with feminist-based restraining orders, simply based on someone's statement, and ordered by a judge based on an uninformed conclusion. More times than not, the statements are false. This is why I say feminine-based, because women are to be believed no matter what. The female, in my story, being prompted by other people, avoided helping me after she asked for my help to avoid telling the truth about everything. She even apologized in an audio recording that she was sorry for everything. This is not limited to restraining orders, as there can be secret court hearings, again with only one person making anonymous statements about someone else with regards to, for example, firearms. However, do not be fooled to think these secret court hearings will not stop there. We hear about this type of thing being done in history, and how people, including innocent people, were, for example, burned at the stake or being taken to the gulags. In today's world, society sees us better as we merely revert back to the days society mocks. There are countless of calls to police to do a wellness check on someone, sometimes in good faith and sometimes for malicious reasons to harass someone. What makes such calls worse is 1, the person called on is entered into the system for life, and 2, a lot of the times the person being called on is killed by the police who were supposed to be checking on their well-being. To expand on swatting, the police have their own form of this, using their perceived powers given to them by escalating matters and using the courts to impose whatever they want. This is a form of swatting, which can be expanded on by getting other police to do what they can't or couldn't, by using their own private social media known as police computer databases, in Canada called CPIC. This is a form of swatting. In essence, swatting could mean anyone using any authority type to impose hardships, and the laws are being put in place to make this easier for busybodies and bad people to harm others without repercussions. Again, this video is not anything negative about police or any other type of authority. It is to highlight how they are used as a weapon by others to destroy someone or a group. The problem here is they don't appear to care, possibly due to the lack of respect for others. Something we now see with society overall, the lack of respect for others and themselves. Peace be with you.
I think a lot of them are just stone cold, there's no emotion, and they don't view people as people anymore. And you almost feel like you're literally living in the Twilight Zone. And you feel like you're the only sane one in a bunch of insane people. And it's up to the point where I'm afraid that I'm going to start thinking that this is normal. I don't want to ever get to that point. There's good people, but they're outnumbered.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people say, when is it going to get easier? When you die.